Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
For centuries, ancient cultures knew the secrets to longevity, vitality, and healing. Now, modern science is catching up. Ageless Blueprint is a podcast that will reveal the modern secrets of better health and a better life. Join Dr. Eldred Taylor here today and every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on W4HC Radio at W4HC.com. As together we discover the secrets to better health through science and spirituality. A better life with Ageless Blueprint starts now. Here's your host, Dr. Eldred Taylor.
Hello. I am Dr. Taylor, the hormone doctor and the spiritual MD. Now, I am coming to you live from Ghana. It's a 4-hour time difference, so it's actually 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. But I am here to discover history, to understand where we all came from, especially where I came from as an African American. It is important to me that I try and understand my culture and my heritage. Where did my ancestors come from? You just need to understand that being an African American, where in America, everybody's proud of their heritage. I'm an Italian, I'm Irish, I'm whatever. Well, we're African Americans. And so at this point in my life, I'm interested in where did I come from? What is going on in my original homeland? So that's why we went to Egypt. That's why we are back here in Ghana. And we'll continue to travel like this and in other places, because I think it's very important to realize where you came from. Where did your ancestors come from? That is, and when you look at what we're talking about with spirituality and quantum physics, what you begin to understand is that your history is connected to your present life and to your future life. So you need to understand the whole spectrum of your life and your spirit and your soul. Where did all of that come from? So that's why we're here. Now, I thought I would dress in some Ghanaian garb. We've been eating Ghanaian food. My wife is actually out shopping right now. There are some beautiful fabrics here. They're very well made, very colorful. My daughter actually called while we were at the shop, and then she started picking out things on FaceTime. So I hope I'll have enough money to get back into the U.S. So because they're going kind of crazy here, but I'm happy that you joined us, and I want to give you a little flavor of what Ghana is like. I'm doing some videos on TikTok. You can follow me there at the Hormone Doctor on TikTok. I'm going to put some information or some videos on Instagram, and then I'll have this podcast. I may try and show you some videos that we took. We actually climbed one of the mountains. It was beautiful scenery there. We actually did it with ropes. It really wasn't a mountain. It was a hill. I don't want you to think I'm out here mountain climbing, but it's a lot of beautiful scenery here, lakes and waterfalls, and we plan to see as much as we can. So anyway, so today I want to talk about kind of a serious subject that I have been noticing, and it's called gray divorce. And gray divorce is these divorces that are happening in people over 50 years old. And I'm just surprised. I'm telling you, 2 weeks ago, I was in the farmer's market, and there was a lady who I knew, and she was like, "How's things going?" She said, "Oh, I just got divorced." And then I went to another grocery store, and I saw a friend that I went to their wedding 30 years ago, and she told me that she had just gotten divorced. And I have other friends who, and even patients who come in, and they say, they're getting a divorce after 25, 30 years. And at first I didn't understand it, but now I'm starting to understand it. And it just happens It's a part of the hormonal shifts and the life shifts that happen as we grow older. Now, even myself, they say wisdom comes with experience, and I've experienced almost all of these issues that I'm going to talk about today. And I'll tell you, it's a struggle to get through those. It really is. Now, I've been married for 39 years, and I am so happy that we got through those struggles because I will tell you, this last year has been probably the most exciting year of our marriage. And I believe it's because we have found a common interest. And one of those interests is this ageless blueprint, this trying to understand history and what they left behind. And it has given us a common interest other than raising our kids. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I want to go through the slides so we can really understand this because this is really uh, it's really what would be called an epidemic. So let's go to the slides. Let me make this a little bit bigger so I can see. All right. So why do couples over 50 divorce? It's called gray divorce. Divorce after age 50 has risen sharply in the 1990s. Only about 8 to 9% of the divorces were couples that were over 50. But by 2019, that number hit 36%. So it's 3 times higher now. So that's been what, in the last 29 years? Over 1/3 of all divorces now involve older couples. While many factors contribute, a key overlooked driver is hormonal shifts that both men and women experience in midlife. These biological changes can profoundly impact relationships, often unnoticed by couples. Now, I will tell you the reason why I'm talking about this because I can tell you there's several women especially who have come to me and said, wow, if I had understood this, if I had gotten my hormones in check, I may not have gotten a divorce. Now I see it wasn't my husband, it was really these hormones that were disrupting my life, and I was actually blaming my husband and my kids and my my parents because they were the closest to me, so I thought that they were making me feel like I was feeling, but it's not. It's the hormonal shifts that are doing that. So the hormonal shifts in women. Now, perimenopause to menopause happens in the 40s and 50s. What happens there is that you begin to not ovulate on a regular basis or not ovulate at all when you go through menopause. Ovulation means making an egg. So what happens in the ovary is that every month you make actually several cysts. Those cysts make estrogen. They are trying to get the uterus ready for ovulation. Now, what happens is that as you get in your 40s and 50s, those eggs are 40 or 50 years old. You don't make new eggs. Men make new sperm, but women don't make new eggs. So here's what you have. You have several cysts that are producing estrogen, trying to make the tissue in the uterus grow so it can be prepared for ovulation. But those 40 to 50-year-old eggs don't ovulate as efficiently as they did when you were 20 or 30. So you have a rise in estrogen, not a decrease in estrogen. And that's what we don't understand, or most people don't understand. In perimenopause, estrogen goes up because you have more cysts that are trying to get to the point where they ovulate. But a lot of times they don't make it at all. So you have this overwhelming amount of estrogen and you have a decreasing amount of progesterone. What happens with that? Your periods become irregular because ovulation is the timekeeper for your menstrual cycle. 14 days after ovulation, you should either be pregnant or you should have a menstrual cycle. When that does not happen, that causes big problems. So you don't know, your uterus doesn't know when to bleed, how much to bleed, so you miss periods, you have heavy periods. Also, that estrogen makes your fibroids grow. It makes your breast tissue grow, and sometimes it stimulates abnormal breast tissue. So it increases your risk of breast cancer during this time. So then you also have these hot flashes, and it's not caused by estrogen or progesterone. It's caused by the imbalance of the estrogen and progesterone. So you get hot flashes, night sweats, disrupted sleep, increased irritability. And that's the problem, that irritability and anxiety and mood swings. And that causes disruption in relationships, decreased patience. And we all know that marriage requires patience. It also requires emotional resilience. Then women also have vaginal dryness and reduced sexual desire. So sometimes it makes the man feel rejected and not loved. And these hormone changes can make women feel not herself, impacting her partner's perception. And so you have to understand that these hormone drops affect patients in a dramatic fashion. So let's go to the next one. So, and it's not all women, okay? We don't need to blame women and say, oh, it's their hormones. Well, it's men too. You get at starting at age 35, testosterone starts to decline, becoming more noticeable after 50. And this gradual andropause often goes unrecognized. And we know that men, as they get older, they're more likely to have erectile dysfunction. This causes anxiety in the man. It causes them to feel disconnected. And you just have to understand how important sex is to men. It is essential for men. Men have sex for recreation. Women primarily have sex, and and this is a generalization, for procreation. Okay, so sex is more important to men than it is to women. It helps to regulate their stress and their mood. And then when they don't have this testosterone causing that desire, it totally disrupts how they feel about themselves and their confidence. And so let's just go through this. It when testosterone drops, energy decreases. You get reduced motivation and increased irritability are common. So you have she is irritable, the man is irritable, she's impatient, he's impatient. So you have a you have a recipe for disaster. Many withdraw emotionally or become critical as testosterone falls. Declining testosterone can cause less confidence, reduce libido, and decrease desire for emotional connection. These changes are often blamed on stress or aging. And men don't discuss these changes. Okay? Suffering in silence or denying the impact. This creates hidden tension as men struggle with unrecognized symptoms. And a lot of times it makes men go out and find other things that excite them. They're trying to recreate that excitement, that confidence. So a lot of times they go and look for other women to make them feel confident because now they can wine and dine this woman and it makes them feel better about themselves. And they don't understand that they're destroying the relationship that their most of their life has been their foundation is this union between the husband and wife that's created this family, and now they go and destroy it. And we just see this all the time where men destroy relationships by looking for excitement in someone else. All right, let's go to the next one. Hormones and relationship stress. So with both of these declining hormones, the sexual connection begins to fragment or just dissolve. So declining hormones directly impact libido and intimacy, and couples often misrepresent this as rejection, not biology. And it's it the sexual part is really what brings people together. So as that starts to fade away, if you have not built other emotional connections, other interests, and it's biology. As you get older, sex does become less important and intimacy is more important. And I've had to learn that in 39 years of marriage. Early on, and I'll just tell you, men most of the time get married because of sex. They see this as, yes, I can have a sexual relationship with this woman for the rest of my life. That's how much I love her. I'm going to forsake all others. And so if you don't build something else other than that, the marriage can quickly, it doesn't even have to wait till you're 50, it can quickly start to dissolve. And that is so important. You have to move from sex to intimacy. Women understand that. Men, not so much. We have to be trained. We have to learn that. that intimacy and sex are totally two different things. So emotional regulation, hormone shifts affect emotional regulation, leading to more arguments, less patience, and difficult conflict resolution. And again, you have two people who are irritable, two people who are less patient, and that can only blow up. That's just so combustible that things are going to happen negatively if you don't understand these, if you don't investigate it, if you don't try to correct it, then it's inevitable. And I think that's what is going on in this rise in gray divorce. We just don't understand what's happening and we blame it on the other person. So then there's sleep disruption, hot flashes, night sweats, and anxiety disrupt sleep. This increases irritability and emotional distance. And women, if they do not feel good, they do not want to have sex. If they're uncomfortable, if they don't like the way they look because they've gained weight due to menopause, it doesn't matter how much they love their husband, they are not going to want to have sex. And that can cause a man to feel rejected. And that is key for a man. They want to feel accepted. They want their woman to love them. They want their woman to be proud of them. And when they don't feel that, it causes an emotional disconnection. And a lot of times it causes a breakup in the marriage. So we need to be aware of these situations and what our biology is doing to us. So why is gray divorce on the rise? There are not only hormone shifts, but these hormone shifts seem to coincide with transitions that stress even the strong relationships. And again, I've been married 39 years. So I'm not telling you something that I think. I'm telling you something that I know. I'm telling you something that I've been through, that we've struggled through it. It Could we have decided we want to get a divorce? Yes. But early on in our marriage, the first year, and even when we were going through counseling, we both agreed that divorce is off the table, no matter what. The divorce, that the option of divorce is off the table. Now, am I saying that no one should ever divorce? No. If you are in an abusive relationship, if you are in a violent relationship, yes, divorce can be something that needs to be done. But I think everybody, if you're really committed to a marriage, you have to take divorce off the table, because anyone who says they've been married for more than 5 or 6 years and they haven't thought about divorce, they're lying to you. Okay, because that thought will come. Just like I've always told you, hey, thoughts, they create feelings, and those feelings create your reality. So even though you think it, you have to go back and you have to say, no, I'm committed to this person. We took divorce off the table, so we got to struggle through it. And every time we've struggled through it, it has been, it has made our marriage stronger. Okay, so here's the first life challenge. When children come is the first one, because I tell men, when when a child comes, when a woman has a child, that child, the nourishment of that child, the development of that child is that woman's number one priority. Okay, sex goes way down on the list once that child comes, and the needs of the child will always come before your needs. You just need to accept it. Okay, that is how life works. And men who think that after the children come that they're going to have the same sex life that they had before, you are fooling yourself. And if that is what you are looking for, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. It's just not. And I've heard it from hundreds of men, thousands of men. That's what happens. But you have to understand that if you want your children to develop as best as possible, you have to maintain the core of that family, which is the husband and wife. And we learned that when our children came, we saw that we were drifting apart. And so we started taking Friday night date nights. And I don't care what was going on. Those children went to a place where they could play on Friday nights and we could go out to eat. We could do whatever we want. And I'm going to tell you that saved our marriage during that time is making sure that we put some priority on our intimacy and our connectedness, even though we had children. It was the way we got through that. All right. So we had that. Then we had this common goal of raising our children, and I'm trying to make sure I can provide for them, that I can make sure that I have money to educate them. So we all had a common goal. I went out and started speaking, and my wife stayed home. She stopped working. So we all worked together so we could make sure we raised our family. Then the children leave. Then you have to find something else that reunites the two of you, because now that common goal of raising the kids, it's gone. And so then you have to look at each other and say, do we still have a relationship without the kids? And w- thankfully, we developed it even while the kids were small. We kept our relationship, and we prioritized it for one day every week. It was all about the two of us. So then at the end, when both of our children left, we still had the core of our relationship. But then what we did, we found a common interest and we started ballroom dancing. And we still do it. We don't take as many lessons as we used to, but we started ballroom dancing. And we did it intensely for 10 years. So that was a thing that we could do together. It was something other than going out to eat and watching movies. It was something active. It also keeps your brain healthy and alive because you're actually learning something new. You're moving your body so that you can stay coordinated. So that was our interest. And now we're at this point in our life where we have a common interest in travel. We went to Egypt. We're learning about things that we never had time to learn and experience before. And what you find out in life is that life is about experiences. Is what can you experience together? What can you experience in life? What wonders of this wonderful earth and universe, what are the things that you can learn and discover? So that's our new focus. Okay. And again, you have to have something that brings you together. And through this, our intimacy has grown. And again, I have learned to separate sex from intimacy. It's just these shared experiences are so valuable to me. They're so memorable. And when you have an experience and you tie it in with intense emotion, it becomes an unforgettable, it's life changing. And so that's what we are discovering. And then also just starting this ageless blueprint is another thing that we are working on together. She allows me time to try and develop this. She encourages me. She knows this is a passion of mine and she is supporting me through this. And even though sometimes I'm off by myself working on this, she understands. She's not feeling like I'm neglecting her. She knows that this is something that I hope is going to benefit both of us in the future and benefit our kids and their kids and so on and so forth. So that's why I've gotten so passionate about where, how did our ancestors develop me to get to this point, and how can I continue this for future generations? So anyway, so then you have financial pressures because a lot of times at this point in life, one of the spouses may become sick. You're worried about Medicare and you're worried about retirement. Do we have enough for retirement? Should we downsize? We've raised our kids for 30 years in this home. Now we need to downsize. We need to move and go somewhere else. How are we going to adjust to that? So you have all of these financial pressures and these relationship pressures and these hormonal pressures, and they can all be overwhelming, and people look for relief. And sometimes that relief means that I have to break up this relationship because it's too much pressure. So, hormone driven emotional distance can magnify these life transitions, making them feel insurmountable. And so that's what happens. There's so much pressure and so much stress. And you're always trying to relieve stress. You're trying to de-stress yourself. And so a lot of times people think that the divorce is one way of doing it. Sometimes that is true, but a lot of times it can be saved if we could understand all of these different pressures that come upon us as we get older. So here we go. Other contributing factors: loss of intimacy. And again, intimacy is different from sex. A woman naturally, as she goes through menopause and she starts to have vaginal dryness and sex becomes not pleasurable anymore. Now, there's ways to, there's lubricants, there's estriol cream that I use to help women with vaginal dryness. But you just have to understand these are normal changes. And this is what I tell women. Your body naturally is going to avoid pain and seek pleasure. And if sex becomes discomforting or painful, your body is automatically going to tell you to not do it, no matter how much you love your husband. And so that is a factor that can be corrected, but you need to correct it before it becomes ingrained in your subconscious that sex is painful. Because now we got to reprogram your subconscious mind to say, hey, look, there's ways we can avoid this pain. And actually, this reconnection can be pleasurable. So that's one of the things that is frustrating for couples. Men can't understand why she doesn't want to have sex if she still loves me. And women can't understand why their bodies won't respond even though they still love their husband. Okay, it's because it's a natural instinct to avoid pain. Then routine replaces passion. Do we have this routine where we just go to work, we come home, we watch TV, we eat, we eat and then we watch TV, we go to bed, and we just in such a routine, there's no passion, there's no excitement, there's no interesting, unusual, exciting things that are happening. And so it just becomes a routine. We talked about the legal and financial changes. Now we are dealing with retirement and is Social Security even going to be around? I don't have enough in my 401k. I should have done this. Do we need to sell our house so we can have enough money? So you have all of these financial pressures coming upon you right at this time where your productivity seems to be decreasing, where you may be in a job and they're aging you out of it because you've been there for 20, 30 years. They're getting rid of the people who are costing them the most in payroll. Then you have AI who's coming to take all of our jobs. So now people are thinking about that. So it's just so many pressures. And sometimes people see divorce as a relief valve. And sometimes it can help, but a lot of times it's not really the best thing. So hormonal changes can accelerate intimacy loss, creating emotional distance over decades. And societal, and also, here's the other thing: to reduce social stigma. It used to be a badge of shame if a woman was divorced. It was like a scarlet letter. Now, there's no real stigma to divorce anymore. Divorce is becoming much more common. When I say we've been married for 39 years, people are shocked because most people don't stay married that long because the stigma has been downgraded. And it used to be people stayed together for the children, or people stayed together because they didn't want that social stigma of being divorced, especially women didn't want that social stigma. It's like it used to be, oh, my husband cast me off. But after the break, we're going to talk that now most of the divorces are initiated by women. It's not the men, it's the women. And that's what I saw in my OBGYN practice, is that these women came in saying that, hey, if I had known this about my hormones, I may not have gotten a divorce. And now well, I don't want to, I'll tell you what the statistics are when we come back from break, because it's time for break right now. But yes, this is a woman motivated movement, not men. Okay, it's not the man saying, hey, I want a divorce, I'm going to marry a younger woman. It's actually women who are saying, I'm not going to take this anymore. So we'll come back right after the break. All right.
We are going to a quick break, so stay with us as we explore the ageless blueprint right here on W4HC Radio and Talk4 TV. An ancient secret with a modern twist for better health and vitality. Dr. Taylor will be right back. Taking care of your health shouldn't mean taking a handful of pills every day. At Taylor MD Formulations, they create doctor-developed supplements that combine the best natural ingredients so you get the results you need with fewer pills. Taylor MD Formulations is backed by science, designed for real life with real results. Less pills, better health, doctor approved. Shop now at TaylorMDFormulations.com and discover smarter supplements for smarter health. That's TaylorMDFormulations.com. We are back for more of Ageless Blueprint. Once again, let's join Dr. Taylor for more insights and research on the ancient secret to better health and a better life in modern times. Here's your host, Dr. Eldred Taylor.
All right, we're back. And hey, Rebel, do we have any questions or do we need to just move on?
Yes, we have some questions. Let's see.
Okay.
First question was from Kevin. Why do kids take first chair in a woman's life?
Hey, you got to ask God about that. Okay. I don't know. Hey, that's how, hey, we are here to propagate the species. So somebody has to make sure that the species continues. And women seem to, because women are the ones who are the creators of this, they're the ones who nurture this baby from conception. Okay. So the nurturing didn't start once the man saw that baby. A woman starts nurturing that baby for the whole 9 months. And I understood that when I saw women who had miscarriages. And the miscarriage may be only 2, 3, 4 weeks, but they felt a significant loss, even if that baby never came to fruition where it was visible to other people. Her biology suffered a loss, and it is traumatic, and men need to understand that, and everybody needs to understand that is a loss, because that mother has been nurturing that baby from conception. So it has a tie with that baby that can be stronger than the tie that they have with the man. That's why you see these women, these single mothers, they survive. They can have 6 children. The man leaves and they will stay there. Okay. So you need to ask God about that. But I'm telling you, men, you need to understand it, because it's not going to, as far as I know, it's not going to change. And to think about it, you don't want it to change. If you have a child, you want that mother to nurture that baby. Okay. I know you want to have your needs met too, but you're going to have to understand that you need to fall in line. Okay. You just do. Are you going to be frustrated? So anyway, I hope I explained that.
Yes, you did. All right. The next question is from Charlie.
Mhm.
Do you find men get jealous of not being first in a relationship after kids?
Yes, that's the whole problem. That's what I'm trying to help you to understand. You can be jealous all you want, but it's not going to change how that woman is. And this is what I've learned. The only thing you can change is yourself. Okay? If you change yourself, then the people around you will change. And if you become more understanding of your wife or the mother of your child, the the woman will start to understand you more. Okay. So you can't change women. You can't. All right. All you can do is change how you respond to her. And I will tell you that has been the most important thing that has happened in my relationship with my wife, is that I learned I have to change out how I respond to her. And if I change how I respond to her, she will change how she responds to me. The more I understand her and I accept her as the way she is, the more she will understand me and accept me as the way I am. And that is what I think true intimacy is that we understand each other and we accept each other, and we accept each other through the changes that we go through. We try to understand the changes. We try to support each other through those changes. So that is that's how you get over the jealousy, is just change your mindset and things around you will change. Let's do one more question and then I'll finish up. I think I got like 2 or 3 more slides. Okay. So any other questions?
Yes. Okay. The last one is, are you saying it is okay to give each other space?
Oh, yes. Hey, I will tell you that's another thing that saved our marriage, is that sometimes you have to go to your separate corners and cool down and then come back. It's almost like, I don't want to, like a prize fight or whatever. They say, you get all tangled up in a fight, and then they separate you out and they say, hey, go to your corners, and then you come back. And a lot of times when we see that a discussion, I won't say an argument, that a discussion is starting to move into an argument, we separate. We say, let's just think about this. And the key is, give yourself time to respond instead of react. Because a lot of times we just automatically react to something our spouse does, and we don't take time to respond and think about it. Because then what happens is you get into this big argument, and what happens? After a while, you start to think about it, and you're like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I say that? I didn't mean that. So just don't react. Just stop. Shut your mouth. Think about the situation and say, how can I resolve this where it doesn't lead into some long extended argument that could lead into something that we don't want? So just take your time. Listen to your wife. And that's what I had to listen. I had to learn. Listen to her and then just shut up. Okay. Think about it and then come back. And sometimes you don't even need an answer. Just listen. And sometimes just the woman being able to get it out and knowing that you heard her, you don't even need to respond. So that's something that is learned. And I'll tell you, if you follow that, just be quiet sometime. Okay. Just be quiet and take your time before you respond to your spouse. And I guess that can go both ways for the woman and the man. All right. And I am so glad that the men are asking the questions, because the men sometimes don't look deep. We are, my wife says, men are simple. A lot of times men just look at the surface. And I want to encourage you to go deeper into what a relationship should be. It's more than satisfying your sexual desires. It's more than that. It can be more beautiful than that. It really can. So, all right. So the role of women's independence. I told you, these women, they're like, I'm not going to take this anymore. These hormonal shifts prompt identity reflection, and they begin to say, what do I want in my life second half? They've been, for decades, they've been doing household work responsibilities. It causes cumulative stress combined with hormonal fatigue. This can become an emotional breaking point. And then also these women, as they get into their 50s, see, it used to be they were bound by the home. The man went out and worked, the woman stayed home and took care of the kids in the house. So they didn't have the financial autonomy to say, I'm not satisfied, I'm leaving. So unlike past generations, women over 50 often have careers, and very successful careers, and financial independence, enabling them to leave unsatisfying marriages. My wife is a physician. She could leave whenever she wanted to. She doesn't necessarily need me. However, emotionally, we need each other. Okay. And she needs me. I need her. We are, we, we are two who have become one. All right. But if you haven't done that, the woman who does look deep, she looks deep into a relationship. She's not functioning on the surface. So if she feels unsatisfied deep in her soul, she will leave. She will tell you she doesn't need you. She'll say, I can do bad by myself. All right. So this is a new age for women, is that they are not totally dependent upon a man for their financial security. So men, you need to offer more than just financial security if you want to maintain your marriage. It's not about sex and finances. It's about having a deep relationship with your spouse. So women initiate 66% of all divorces. All right, that's what I'm telling you. You know, men, you think, oh yeah, I'll go find me another woman. No, these women are saying, I'm not going to stay in an unsatisfying marriage. And I will tell you, I'm going to be very honest with you, is what prompted this transformation in me is that my wife, I was frustrated at where I was in life. I felt like I could do more. I had this career where, you know, I was going out speaking and teaching and communicating and trying to, you know, help people. And I felt like I was stuck in my office. And then I had some other things going on with my extended family. I was frustrated. And my wife said, it's difficult for me to be with you when you're like this. And that struck a chord with me. And I said, I have to change. And I've changed. And it has been a wonderful change. And this is why I started the Aces Blueprint. This is why I went to Egypt. This is why I'm here, is because my wife said, you are not living up to your potential. That's why you're frustrated. And hey, if I hadn't listened, she may have been a part of that 66%. Okay. And that's why I'm saying that thought comes into your mind and you have to move beyond it. And that's kind of what we did. So let me go to this next one. And why are baby boomers affected? Now, when I used to go out and speak, 10, 15 years ago, I talked about how baby boomers changed how we delivered babies. Where it used to be, in the old I Love Lucy, is that, the husband's in the waiting room and the woman is off and she's having a baby and the man smoking a cigar, all that stuff. Baby boomers said, we're not doing it like that. We're not going to act like having a baby is an illness where we go off to the hospital. So they started to make these labor and delivery rooms look like a Ritz-Carlton. By the time I finished doing OB, these rooms were spacious. All the family could be in there and watch the delivery. They changed how we deliver babies. They changed OB. And then they've changed menopause, is that they're saying, I'm not taking this permanent Provera. And some of you are not old enough to know that's what we used to do. Give everybody the same thing. And they're like, no, we're not going to do it that way. And then, so they're also changing the way divorce is looked at. All right. They're saying, no, I'm not going to be in this marriage. I don't need the financial security. I don't need the disconnect. I don't need someone who is emotionally distant from me. I'll leave. And so the baby boomers have always changed society. And I'm at the end of this baby boomer generation, and I have lived through the changes that the baby boomers have created. So anyway, baby boomers consistently had higher divorce rates. Gray divorce continues this trend. Again, this women's independence and the women's movement, they feel like they don't have to have a man. I believe that the man-woman relationship is sacred, but women are finding out that they don't have to stay in an unsatisfying relationship. Life expectancy extends into the 80s. Staying in unfulfilling marriages for decades is now unacceptable. Yeah, you're 50 and you're like, hey, I got 30 more good years. How do I want to spend those 30 years? Again, that's why I started Ageless Blueprint. I'm like, I'm 65, but I still have energy. I want to do more. So I decided, hey, I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to start this school community. I'm going to do all this because I have a lot more living to do. Hormonal health gap. Midlife hormonal changes are rarely addressed as a relationship issue. Many marriages drift apart, and biological support could help. And that's why I'm doing this topic, is I want you to understand that those life changes are hard enough. And if you don't correct the biology changes, it's almost it's almost inevitable that your marriage could end in a divorce. or you're going to just stay in an unsatisfying marriage because you haven't fixed these biology issues. All right, so I think this is, yeah. What makes great divorce different? This is just like a summary. We have complex finances, like say downgrading, moving to a different home, or moving to a different country because you can't afford to live in America anymore. So you have these expats that are moving to Africa and moving to Portugal and moving to all of these places. And that's very disrupting. And it can be, even though you're going there to relieve stress, it can be stressful, that transition. The emotional impact. Later life divorce often triggers identity crisis, loneliness, and depression as partners lose social networks and future plans. That's another issue with divorce, and you probably had this happen when you have a couple that's friends of yours that divorce. Now all of a sudden you have to pick sides. You've met these people as couples, now they've divorced, and now it disrupts your whole social network. So now the friends you used to hang out with, they're no more, they're not together anymore, and usually it just dissolves that whole relationship. So we talked about housing challenges and then unrecognized root cause, hormone imbalances. So you want to make sure that you are trying to handle all of these issues. And the first thing is just to be aware of these issues so that you can tackle them together and work through them together and not blame each other for your situation. All right, here we go. Great divorce key takeaways, emotional shifts. We really just talked about that. So we have about 3 or 4 more minutes. So what I really would like for you to do is that in our school group, I am going to create a relationship reset course. Uh, my school group is going to go to a subscription service, and I'll be announcing more about that. But I started this Ageless Blueprint School uh, about 4 or 5 months ago, and all I had was a community where I would give an ageless tip of the day, and we would have people go back and forth, and we talk about it. Well, over the last 4 months, I've created a lot of content. Uh, I've tried to relate 30 years of my medical experience and my life experience, my relationship experience, and how I've gone from being a conventional doctor to a functional medicine doctor to now I'm becoming a healer in all aspects of a person's life, where we're talking about my body, mind, and spirit. So I've done a lot of travel. I've taken a lot of courses. I've hired mentors to help me to develop myself and develop a program. So I've spent a lot of time and a lot of money, and I want to be able to share it with you, but I have to place a value on that. And I appreciate everybody who joined when all I had was the community. But now we need to move into this next phase where I can share more and I can help you to implement uh, some of these changes. So that is to come. I hope to release that on September the 1st, or as close as I can to that. Uh, Even while I'm here in Ghana, if I'm not out uh, experiencing this culture, I am actually here, and you can get rid of the slides. I am actually here in my hotel room developing content, is trying to develop more information that I can share with you, because I want my experiences to benefit more than just the people who come in my office. I want it to benefit the people who are listening on the podcast, who follow me on different social medias, because now I understand is that's how you get a message across. My patient told me I had to get into social media if I really wanted people to understand, and if I wanted to combat some of the misinformation that's out there. You have to fight fire with fire, and so that's what I'm doing. And I hope that this podcast is helping you. And if you want to work with me closer, please join my school group. Follow me on my YouTube channel. Follow me on this podcast, Ageless Blueprint Podcast.com. So please connect with me. I want to connect with you. And Rebel, any more questions? I think we got a minute or two, or not even less, maybe less than that. Any more questions?
No, doctor, you covered everything.
Okay. All right, good. So I will see you next week. I hope I have to look at my flight information on Wednesday. I may be traveling next Wednesday. If not, if I am, I may pre-record something. It won't be live, but I'll let you know. But until then, I'm saying goodbye from Accra, Ghana.
Thanks for joining Dr. Taylor today. If you missed any part of this show, just check out the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Ageless Blueprint is every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on W4HC Radio at W4HC.com. Together, we discover the ancient secrets to better health through science and spirituality made for modern times. Until then, feel free to check out agelessblueprintpodcast.com and TaylorMDFormulations.com for more information.